Hello, everybody. My name is Sherry. My pups' names are Sunny and Riley, and you're tuning into Therapy Dog Talk. Each week, we talk with different therapy dog teams and researchers around the world about the impact they're making in their area and find out a little bit more about their story. If you're just getting started and not sure where to get started, we have a free guide for you that you can find at freeguide.therapydogtalk.com. And we also have a community you can join at community.therapydogtalk.com. So today I'm really excited to introduce you to Cara and her dog, Little Dude. They are a team out of New York, and Cara is also a early childhood educator who's put together a series of books and curriculum inspired by Little Dude for social emotional learning. So let me just get her in here. Hi, Cara. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm so excited to have you here today. For those who don't know you, would you like to introduce us to yourself and your pup?
Sure. My name is Cara Zelas. I'm the founder of Big World of Little Dude. We're a social and emotional learning platform teaching young children social and emotional skills. It's based on this amazing therapy dog, Little Dude. And his name, we're based in New York, and that's kind of who we are.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Cara, how did you first discover the role of therapy dogs?
When we got Little Dude as a little tiny puppy in 2011, we had this amazing trainer called Dog Boy. The trainer was more for us than for the dog. And he mentioned the Good Dog Foundation because I said to him, I'd love to do some volunteer work. And he said, you should check out the Good Dog Foundation. And I did so immediately because he said, Little Dude has such a wonderful disposition. And that's what sort of started me on the journey of becoming a therapy dog team.
Okay, great. So it was really kind of your trainer's recommendation that led you to know that Little Dude would enjoy that experience?
Yes. And just his personality and the fact that I really wanted to do something in our community on a volunteer basis.
That's awesome. Did you say how long you've been a therapy dog team together?
We have been with the Good Dog Foundation since Little Dude was 1, so about 10 years, but we had a 2-year break when I lived in Australia in the last few years. But overall, we've been with the Good Dog Foundation volunteering for 8 years. This will be our 8th year being out there. And we just recertified because we have to recertify every year. So we just recertified, and we're going to be going to a hospital up in Fairfield County in Connecticut.
So you're getting ready to volunteer in a hospital. I know you've also done a lot of work in schools. Are there any other places that you volunteer together?
Yes, we've done many, many things in the 8 years. Some things we've done on a consistent level, like we've gone every week or every 2 weeks to the same place. And then there's other things that they offer as like drop-in moments, I guess, or experiences. But the ones that stand out, we volunteered for the Charter School for Autism, which was a school in Harlem. And we've been at the Rebecca School, which is another school for developmentally challenged children. And we've done various other locations as well. Old age facilities, universities, many, many, many schools, but not in the capacity of therapy dog. That's more of capacity of my work. Libraries, so
that's great. Does the Good Dog Foundation match you up with those, or do you kind of say, this is what I'm looking for? What do you have available? How does that work with them?
No, they have relationships with a wide range of facilities. It's based in the East Coast, but they like in Westchester, Connecticut, and New York, like Manhattan, Brooklyn, and all the boroughs. And they just sort of send out a list. These are the institutions that we are affiliated with. And if you would be interested, then you can sign up. And then each facility has its own intake process. Like if you do go to a hospital, it's more of an extensive process. Actually, we also went to the VA too in New York, and we were visiting like the psychiatric ward at the VA hospital in the city. I just remembered that one. But if you go to a hospital, there's a much more lengthy process because you have to do a medical, you have to have background clearance. So there's a lot more steps to go through. So it just really depends on how much time you have and what you want to go through in order to volunteer at a specific location.
So you volunteered in New York, but now you're in Connecticut, right? Were you able to stay with the Good Dog Foundation through that transition?
Yeah.
You mentioned you went back to Australia for a while. Is that where you're from?
Yes.
Okay. I
Grew
love
up in
Sydney,
Sydney,
but
Australia.
I'll leave that for another conversation.
Mhm.
But it's beautiful. I love visiting there. I've been there a few times. Did you take little dude with you, and did you volunteer together while you were there as well?
No, I did not take little dude with me because the travel just is too arduous. Like there's no way that I would put him through that. Australia is really far away and the only option is to put him underneath the plane. I just would never have ever done that to him. And we weren't sure how long we were going for. And also once you get to Australia, your dogs are quarantined 3 weeks. They have to go through extensive medical. It would have been too much for him at his age. Yeah, there's no ways I was going to do that. So he stayed back with family.
Yeah, I was curious about that. It's good that you had family he could stay with.
Yes. And that was my biggest thing of staying in Australia for as long as we did. We obviously really missed little dude because he's
Yeah,
such a huge part of our
I'm sure
family.
he was so excited to see you when you came back.
Oh my goodness. Actually, we have the reunification on video and yeah, he just went crazy. Just like kisses and snuggles and
That's so cute. Is that on your YouTube channel?
No, I know.
I was gonna go check it out if it was, because it
Yeah.
sounds adorable.
No, I didn't share that. But yeah, it
I
was
love
really
that.
sweet. Yeah.
What surprised you the most in your training journey with little dude?
I guess it's more to train the human. When you're doing the dog therapy, obviously there is the basic commands that your dog has to know, like stay, sit down, and the basic commands. But it's more to see what type of temperament is your dog. If someone's going to pull his tail, or if there's going to be a loud noise, or if there's going to be a wheelchair going past him, like all those things, that's what they're looking for. So are they going to react in certain situations? And then they're training the handler. Like, this is how you behave when you go to these facilities.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking with Selena and Jedi 2 weeks ago, and they're also through the Good Dog Foundation, and she had the same takeaway that it was about training humans. So I don't think they do a really good job of emphasizing that at the Good Dog Foundation.
Yeah, they do. They're a wonderful organization. I'm really proud to be sort of aligned with them with Little Dude.
Cara, is there a story you can share that's an example of why you enjoy volunteering with Little Dude?
Yeah, it's just meeting people that you never would meet in your daily life. I like that interaction the best, is just having conversations and interacting with other human beings and like making that connection, because I guess that is a big part of human nature, is making connections with other people. Just that idea of being to other people in your community, and that experience of an exchange of kindness. I think that was something that I wasn't expecting, how good that would make me feel and how good that would make the person feel to have Little Dude come and be part of their day. I guess one story that really sticks out for me is that when we visited a school, there was a boy who was like there. Sometimes you go into schools where either the children love dogs and it's a great distraction and they walk him and feed him. But then some situations, children are afraid of dogs. So they bring the dogs in to help desensitize them. So there was this one student, and it took almost 10 months for him to come near Little Dude, put his hand on his back to give him a treat and open up his hand. And it was just that journey that I went with him, and just experiences like that bring me joy and that we're happy to help. It's a really beautiful experience.
Winston commented and said that they love Little Dude's name and they're curious how you came up with that.
I honestly don't remember. We were going to call him Poodlestein or Poodly Bear, which is one of the characters in the book now. And I don't know. I just thought of that name, Little Dude. We wanted a dog that was kind of like a little dude and mentioned it to my husband, and it just kind of stuck.
What kind of dog is Little Dude?
He's a Shih Tzu Bichon Poodle.
The perfect little lap dog, sounds like.
Exactly. That's exactly what he is. Yeah, the new hospital that we're going to, they said they have mostly big dogs. And so they're really excited to have a little lap dog, because we can go up onto their beds if they want, or sit in people's laps and give snuggles. So he is a very good lap dog.
Well, Cara, I know that your work volunteering with Little Dude inspired you to write a series of books about him. I'm curious if you could tell us a little bit more about that inspiration and where it's led you.
So as I mentioned before, the thing that took me by the most surprise, and I'm not sure why, but it just did, was the joy that it brought me to be kind to other people, and how a small act of kindness and that exchange can have like such an impact on me and the person receiving little dude's visit. I am a classroom teacher, and I was teaching at a Montessori school, an early childhood classroom in the city. And I wanted to teach that idea to the students in my classroom. What is kindness? Why it's important to be kind. So I asked the head of school, can I bring in little dude to explain about kindness? And she was really open to it. So I started to bring little dude into the classroom, and I realized he's such an amazing teaching tool. The kids are so engaged. They're so interested, and it's a great vehicle to talk about kindness. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to write a book about this so I can share little dude's story. So I wrote a book about little dude getting lost in Central Park and how through the kindness of strangers, he found his way home. It kind of spiraled from that. And in the classroom, I realized we teach little kids ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. Why aren't we teaching children explicitly what is kindness? What is empathy? What are manners, respect? All those important foundational skills that led me down a path of looking into social and emotional learning. In 2015, it wasn't such a buzzword or so in the forefront of education like it is today. It really has grown social and emotional learning. So I really started to research what's social and emotional learning, what's the research behind it, what are the benefits, how to implement it into the classroom. This led me to writing 6 books and 6 lesson plans, like a literacy-based curriculum. I started to teach that in the classroom and in the school where I was at. So that's how Big World of Little Dude sort of began. He's the main character in the book series, and you follow him and his friends on adventures finding out about manners and kindness, empathy, respect, all those good things, all those good foundational skills. And so that's the story behind
That's really
Big
great.
World of Little
I know
Dude.
you have many layers of education and certification that really help you in that process too, in addition to little dude's inspiration. Actually, I wanted to call out, so I have the empathy ones right here. I know that a lot of people who
Yeah,
with their dogs
amazing.
like to take books they can read that are about therapy dogs. And so one of the things that I think is really cool is that that one really shares how little dude experiences empathy with different people that he visits as a therapist.
Yeah, and the first book, Kindness, that really is about therapy dogs. So it's about, this is what a therapy dog is. This is how it works. This is why we do it. That first book on kindness really is the first book I kind of wrote in the series too.
That's really great. Do you take those books with you on your visits with little dude?
It just depends where I'm going, but no, I kind of keep it separate. When I do my therapy work, I'm really there in the role for the Good Dog Foundation and as a therapy dog team. So it's something that I keep separate. It also depends where we're going, but mostly I just keep it.
I wasn't sure if any of the things you were doing involved reading to children where it would be like a natural integration to share his story.
Yeah, not really. The therapy visits are more like in hospitals. And if they're at schools, it's more just to have interaction with the dogs rather than like me being a teacher. It's kind of like I'm just there.
Yeah.
Little dude's the main show. I'm just there to
I love
facilitate
that. Well, I'm so glad that you have created this curriculum and series of books around social emotional learning. I don't talk about it often on here, but I'm a therapist. And so I often help clients with those skills that they haven't learned. So I think it's so great that it's becoming more of a trend to really implement that learning in schools to help kids learn how to express themselves and understand themselves at an early age.
Yes, definitely. Also, I think now, especially after the pandemic, that children were kept away from school, and that socialization and that interaction and how we communicate and make friends and emotionally regulate ourselves in a classroom setting, all those things were missed by so many children. So I think now more than ever is really important to have a book, Hello Friend, a guide to making friends. And I think that's a really important one for right now because children have just missed out on how do I actually make a friend?
Definitely. It can be so hard, especially for those kids with autoimmune situations where they just literally couldn't be around anyone because it was so dangerous. So
sometimes I think it from like an adult perspective. Sometimes as an adult, it's hard to make a friend. So you put yourself in a child's perspective where they don't have that knowledge of an adult. So if you find it difficult or if it's like uncomfortable or it's the process, then imagine it from the child's perspective. It
Yeah.
can be really, really daunting. So I always try and give that
Yeah. And I know,
perspective.
we learn things more as we teach things. And so just to have people work through those books with kids is going to help them better understand those concepts that they may or may not have learned at an early age too. So I find that the social emotional learning books can be really helpful even for adults because a lot of times we just didn't have that training.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I wrote the books too, because yes, they can be used in the classroom, but they can also be used at home. Each book has a guide in the back, which goes deeper into each theme. So maybe more activities or cartoons or just little prompts where it really helps the parent or families go into each theme to give them a better understanding of how they can then share that with
Yeah.
their kids in a
I
deeper
love that.
way.
Cara, what advice do you have for someone who's interested in becoming a therapy dog team?
I think that you have to sort of look at the temperament of your dog. So are they going to be a right fit? Yes, it would be great if like every dog could be a therapy dog. Every dog is a therapy dog if you ask their owners, but it is about temperament. So are they barking a lot? How are they around lots of different people of different ages? What happens if you pull their tail or you make a sudden movement? If they remain chill or not phased, like they could be a good candidate. I think that's when you go into the training, that's a lot what they look for because they're not going to send a dog out into a hospital or a school if the dog's going to be aggressive or not the right fit. So I think that would be the first thing, have an honest reflection of, is my dog going to have the right temperament for this? And then also the commitment. You have to make a commitment. Okay, I'm going to volunteer every 2 weeks or once a month. And then it's like really takes the time out of your day to go and do the work too.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that commitment can make a difference in what organization people volunteer through as well, just based on requirements of how often you have to volunteer through certain organizations.
Yeah. Also, I think they want the consistency too, especially if you're going to a hospital where there is a lengthy intake process. They want the consistency and they look forward to it. So you're not just visiting patients. You're going to say, go to the same ward every 2 weeks. So you're going to see the patients and the doctors and the nurses and everyone kind of looks forward to that visit. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think the
that
consistency is
consistency,
key.
it helps your dog stay consistent on their skills, but it also allows you and your dog to build those relationships. So that's really important too.
Mhm.
Ollie just shared in the
Yeah.
comments, and also keeping in mind that you have to consider they have to be groomed or bathed before each visit. So making sure that you're not doing that too often for your dog as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Cara, is there anything else that you wanted to share while you're here?
I'm actually about to launch the Humankind curriculum, which is a new program. It's a 10-week social and emotional learning literacy based curriculum that's going to be launched. It's an amazing in-depth program for schools or after school programs or homeschool parents. And I'm really excited for all this to get out in the universe. I've been working on it for a long time. It's very comprehensive. And yeah, I'd really like to share that with your
Yeah, that's
community.
great. Where can people find more information about that?
Head to the website, which is worldoflittledude.com, or my Instagram page at worldoflittledude, and there'll be a link to my
Awesome.
website in my
Thank you,
bio.
Cara. I really appreciate you taking some time.
Thank you so much, too. This was great. It's so nice to meet you. It's so nice to meet other therapy dog enthusiasts. And I think it's such an important part of our society to share dog
Yeah,
therapy
I
with
really
lots of
agree. And I
people.
love that you're taking it to the next level through combining your experiences with Little Dude and your expertise as an educator to really help people out. It's great. Awesome. Well, thank you, Cara. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great day
You
too.
too.
Nice to see
Bye.
you.
Bye, everyone.